Welcome to the Shootin The Que Podcast, presented by Heath Riles BBQ, with tips, tricks, and an inside look at some of the top pitmasters in the game. Now here's your host, Heath Riles.
Welcome back to another episode of Shootin The Que. Today I'm joined by my lovely wife Candace and a very special guest, Mr. Quintavius Burdette. How are you doing today?
I'm doing awesome. And it's so great that you're shooting a Q, because guess what? I go by Q. So we're actually today probably shooting the Q, right?
That's exactly right. Well, you know, shooting the crap or whatever you want to call it, right, has always been a term kind of in the South of going to talk to people, right?
Yes, sir.
And so when we first started this podcast, it's like, I just want to hang out and talk about people, or not talk about them, learn about people and their upcoming. And we don't always stick to barbecue. We wind up in barbecue because food ties everybody together.
Yep.
But you have an incredible story. And so for people that don't know who you are, you actually went to school at Ole Miss, played some football, and then went on to do some incredible things. So let's tell everybody kind of who you are.
Yeah. So Quintavius Burdette, I go by Q, one of 17 kids, all in Mississippi. Small town, Senatobia. And I know what you're thinking, 17 kids. I tell folks all the time, if you see my dad, get out the way.
I want to meet him.
He can't pull out of a driveway. He'll run right into you.
I'm
telling you. But had to work for everything I had in my life. And growing up, you know, I was an 8, 9-year-old kid who did not ask for gifts at Christmas. I wanted a weight bench. I wanted a parachute. And not the parachute you fly in the sky. It's the one you strap around your waist and you run against the wind. And because I wanted to do something different. I inspired to go to college and be the first. And in my family, in my entire bloodline, I am the first to ever go to college and graduate. Not just from brother, sister, mom, dad. I'm talking aunts, uncles, cousins, grandmother. So it was always in me to say, you know what, go be the first. Go start a trend that the ones behind me can follow. So I worked very, very hard. Got a scholarship to go to Ole Miss to play football and run track for all 4 years. Got a master's in accounting while I was there. And that's a blessing, because most kids in Mississippi, when you come from a background like if you don't go for athletics, you're not going properly, because we can't afford to sin. So I understood that. So I worked really, really hard growing up to say, you know what, I don't want to put my family in that position. I'm going to go and make my own way. So got to Ole Miss, master's in accounting, moved to Atlanta. Take a country boy like me and put me in a big city. I started driving when I was 10 years old, okay?
But not in Atlanta.
Not in Atlanta. I know how long it should take me to go 2, 3, 4 miles. Put me in Atlanta, it's taking me 45 minutes to go 2 miles up the road. I couldn't do it. But that's not the thing that got me out of Atlanta. I was sitting in one day. I started with a Big 4 accounting firm, and everybody back home thought I hit the lottery. Oh, he's in Atlanta at this big firm, and they're paying him $70,000 to start. He's doing good this life, right? Yeah. Coming from a family whose parents never made more than $40,000 in a year, that's real good. Not for me. Because they showed me the billing report one day. You know, what they charging all the clients for the time that I'm sitting there, and I'm seeing $500 an hour, $600 an hour, and I'm like, well, crap. Joke's on me. They made my salary the first week I was here. I went and I Googled that same day what profession I can make what I'm worth. And then real estate popped up. And there was a guy on a video talking about how to make $100,000 in your first year in real estate by door knocking and cold calling and just talking to people. And I thought to myself, well, if that guy that I'm looking at on the screen can do it, because I don't think he's as cute as I am, he definitely don't have the energy I have, and he's not as young. So I'm going to go back home and do it. I put a 2-week notice in the very next day. Didn't think about it much longer.
So how long did you actually work for the accounting firm?
Oh, I was there 4 months.
4 months.
Enough time to understand how to run a business. And, you know, I was learning how they conduct their meetings, what time they start, how to run and work Excel to your advantage. To this day, I still don't have a website or a CRM. I still use the most basic tools ever to run my business, my cell phone and Excel. So easy to do. But those are the things that I learned at KPMG. I also learned how to carry myself in business, how to approach business, how to approach meetings, how to approach people when talking business. So I learned a lot in those 4 months. I did a lot of accounting, a lot of work that, let me just say, I'll never do again. And when I left, everybody was like, never say never. You never know. Oh, trust me, I do. I'm not sitting in the cubicle ever to do anybody's accounting. And that was my drive. I moved back home and got a real estate license and knocked on doors. I've knocked on y'all door, right?
You did.
That's how we actually met.
You knocked on our door.
Long time ago. But that's where that journey in real estate started. And let me just say, I'm a talker. So I would love for you to now maybe pivot and ask whatever you want. Or I can just continue to talk because I like to talk.
Well, I've got to ask about Ole Miss. I'm going to back up just a second. So what made you choose accounting as a career coming out of, close to the Mississippi Delta? What encouraged you to go into counting money, basically?
So it's a very funny story. In high school, my chemistry teacher and my physics teacher, which is Coach Hunt at the time, I used to always argue everything in the classroom. Everything they would say and do, and I would always try to find another way that it could work, and I was that kid in class.
We have more in common than you know.
Yep. And he told me one day, he said, Q, as much as you talk and as much as you want to argue and prove yourself right and solve problems, when you go to college, this is me, 9th, 10th grade, he said, you should grow up and be a lawyer or an accountant. And when he said accountant, I can remember my mom telling me that she always wanted to go to school to be an accountant, but she couldn't. So I got to Ole Miss and I said, well, let me see what they offer. And I thought I was smart until I got to Ole Miss. I got to Ole Miss, I said, you know what, I'm going to play football, I'm going to run track. But I'm also going to double major in mechanical engineering and accounting. Oh, it hit me hard. I'm talking about it hit me harder than I've ever been hit on the field. I was trying to juggle both of them for a while, and I had to drop one. And I dropped the one that I felt like would make my mom least proud. Whereas if I can finish from Ole Miss with a master's in accounting and go on to kind of live her dream, in my mind at that time, that would make her proud. So I stuck with the accounting. But then when I started to realize Ole Miss had one of the top-ranked accounting programs in the country, number 1 in the SEC, and I think number 4 in the entire country, behind places like Penn State, Notre Dame. I'm like, wow, this is a great program.
It really is.
A lot of connections in it. So I stuck with it, got that accounting, but then also just being one of maybe 2 football players. Again, I want to be the first. I want to set an example. Being one of 2 football players in that program at the time when I was in school was just something meant to be talked about around the locker room. Q's the smart guy. He's the fast guy. He's doing this. And it wasn't until I realized what was more important to me was my education over sports. Because one day at Ole Miss, it was brought to me that I needed to change my major because I was missing so much football practice. Every single Wednesday, I had to go to Tupelo, so I had to miss a Wednesday practice every single week. And then in the springtime, my classes were loaded heavier than the fall because of football, but I had track also in the spring, so I was missing all spring football. And they were saying, hey, we're wanting you to play a big role coming into your sophomore year. Would you maybe consider changing your major so you're actually here and dropping track? And I was like, well, when I came here, I told you I was going to run track. That ain't happening. And then my accounting is something that I think is much bigger than what you can understand at this time. I'm not changing my major. If you don't play me, you don't play me. And that's kind of the trend that started at Ole Miss where guys like, well, I did in front of the whole team. And they was like taken back from it. They've never had a kid tell them no. They've never had a kid say,
but you felt like your education was more important. For sure.
And early on, as soon as I got to Ole Miss and I started to meet folks, I met a guy in Oxford, and he's never played sports. But he was telling me his business and how he got in the oil industry. And then from that point on, I thought to myself, that guy can do much more with his brain than he can with his legs. So can I. What's the difference? the choice that you make to do that. So I made a choice to say, you know what? My brain is going to take me further than my legs ever will. I'm going to use it. So.
That's pretty cool. And, well, the one thing before I keep talking about all that, I have to ask, what or how do you feel about your experience at the Grove?
Oh, let me just tell you this. The Grove, the best place that you can be on a Saturday or any day, even Friday when they setting the trash cans out. That was one of the best experiences that I can ever have. Just getting off that bus, hearing everybody scream and cheer. And even when you think they don't know your name, guess what?
They know your name.
They know your name. They know your number. They know what you did last week, last year. They know where you went to high school. That experience there prepared me for moments from when I'm in meetings, or I can go on Survivor, and or I can go to places and not be starstruck because I've been a star before in my own eyes when I get off of that bus, being in the Grove and just smelling the food and seeing the excitement on the faces of everybody that comes, even away team.
That's right.
They know it's going to be an experience.
When we talk to just about any of our friends, and we've got friends that their kids, they live in Kansas City and different places that come down, and they go to Oxford.
Their kids
like,
are students.
There's not
at Ole Miss.
another place like Oxford or the Grove. Like we've been to plenty of schools.
And until you experience it, you don't understand.
That's right. Very true. And so one of the questions I was going to ask, and that may be your answer, and that's okay if it is, or you may have a different answer, but was there like a welcome to the SEC moment where you realized like this is a whole different level?
Oh, for sure. So we're playing Texas my freshman year, second game of the season. That's when they came to Oxford. And getting off the bus, we're at home, we're hyped, and we're having a good old time. Normally what I do is I go out and do my warm-up routine. And in high school, I was one of the bigger players. In college, playing defensive back and corner, I wasn't a small guy. I was fast. Texas walked off the bus, and I'm seeing a guy stand as tall as this ceiling. We didn't have one of those guys. I'm thinking, okay, they have one. It's fine. We can do all right with one. And I see another one. And I'm thinking,
they keep getting off the bus.
Are they cloning these guys or what? And then another one, and that's when I knew football, not just in the SEC, but college football was so different. And then we get to the point to playing Auburn. And I can remember running down, covering a punt. This is the first time I've ever been schemed because first 4 or 5 games, I was giving a lot of tackles on special team. The guy I'm the gunner. The guy that's covering the other gunner leaves his guy, and he's coming to meet me. I'm running up this sideline. I never see him. He's running this way. Boom. He knocked me to the bleachers.
Oh, gosh.
I'm talking about to the bleachers. And coach is coming over there like, you okay? I'm like, yeah, what just happened? He was like, we think you got a concussion. I was like, I don't have a concussion. What just happened? He said, you just got cracked from the other side. And we watched it on film. Never seen anything like that.
Wow.
That's when I knew. Like,
I guess you started paying attention a little bit.
Oh, for sure. For
360 view after that.
For sure. Wow. That welcomed me to the SEC right there fast.
Well, what was the hardest college that y'all played when you did play? I will say that because you talked about Texas, you were talking about Auburn.
I feel like that's an unfair question.
Well,
you're talking about a studded team. You know what I mean?
Well, we play Alabama every single year when I was there. They were always great, even the national championship teams. LSU, but one of the toughest places to play, believe it or not, is at Arkansas.
Really?
The Little Rock location at Arkansas. Because where their stands meet our bench on the sideline, they can literally reach out and touch you. They're so close, like literally so close to the point they can read what you're doing on your board, all kinds of crazy stuff. And just playing in that atmosphere and that team who's always played Ole Miss tough, nice, big, thick, gritty guys, it's a tough place to go and play. Tough place to go and win. But as far as teams, I mean, the Alabama years, Johnny Manziel, Texas A&M years.
Boy, that guy's got some wild stories nowadays.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
When I watch a lot of that about Johnny Manziel and the stories and all that and the podcast he's on now, I'm like, I remember some of those games. Like, how did you do that?
It was crazy. So to answer that question, it's just I think the collective of the group in the SEC was just every single week its own challenge. I mean, seriously. So
that leads me into one more major football question.
Yep.
What is your take on how the NIL money has turned things a lot upside down now in all the colleges?
Yep.
What's your take on that?
My take on NIL is very simple, I think, but it's also kind of complex because you can't have it both ways like I want it. I want the guys to be paid.
I agree.
And, I want them to be paid well, in a sense. I don't have a problem with what they're being paid. But at some point, to control some of this, they're going to have to put caps in place, but also say, hey, if a team is going to pay you NIL, you can't just hop in the portal year after year after year to try to see who's going to pay you more. If an NFL team gives you a contract for 3 years, guess what? You own that team for 3 years.
That's right. I think the money should go into a savings account, and maybe it's how you ration it and spend it. They shouldn't be given Ferraris and sports cars. I'm not a fan of that.
So for me, and where I look at that is they have to learn a lesson soon. Why not learn it now?
Why not teach it in school is my thing.
Right.
If you're in school.
But some of these guys who's making them enough money to be able to buy the Ferrari and the Lamborghini and the whatever, there's probably a high chance they're going to go on to the next level. And what I've seen at the next level a lot, they screw their money up fast. So now in college, if they, for the first time, given money and they screw it up, maybe their second time getting money in the NFL, they'll do it a little different.
I hadn't looked at it like that.
So I kind of want them to spend it the way they want to spend it, but at the same time, I want it to be a cap and it be somewhat fair because in college, they're still amateurs at the end of the day. This guy who's a 5-star quarterback who you want to pay $3 million to, and you have a guy who's been on your team, maybe a lineman who's not as popular, but he's protecting that guy, but he's not getting anywhere near that because of hyping in. This guy come in and he's a bust, and the first year he transfers. We can't have the game like that. We need to change it and put rules in place to where these kids cannot just hop in and out of the portal.
I agree.
Same thing with the guy in Tennessee right now. Look at his situation.
Yeah, and it ain't going to turn out good for him, I'm afraid.
I don't think so.
It's
not. Come on, Dad. Whoever is giving this guy advice.
Yeah, it's not going to
You
be
take
good.
a kid who's making $46,000 a week and you want to get him 80 and he's 19 years old. Tell me, what are you going to do different with $34,000 more a week? Spending on crazy dumb stuff?
I mean,
come on.
I don't understand.
Have to do it better. And I think they have to crack down on, again, caps, how they're spending it, how they're paid, and then also if you accept NIL money, if you don't want to be locked down to a team, don't accept NIL. Say, I don't want it. I want to be able to leave if I want to in a year. But if you accept that NIL money, you probably
it's a commitment.
Have to stay with that team.
Yeah.
That's right.
So,
well, moving on from football, and I went back to that. You left the accounting firm and you got a real estate license.
Yep.
So fast forward into that now. Kind of tell us a little bit about your real estate career and the approach you took for that.
Yep. So my real estate career started 6 years ago, and it started on fire from a sense of the way that I was willing to work. My first 30 days in the business, I talked to over 6,000 people. And that's cold calling, door knocking, going to Kroger, and being annoying as possible. That was my thing. But I understood it as there's no other agent willing to actually show up every single day and do that. So I just have to continue. And I started to get results from my actions, whereas somebody saw me that morning at their house door knocking, and then later on that day around 4 or 5 o'clock, they spotted me at Kroger. And then they called me and they wanted me to sell their house. So then I got addicted to the thought of being seen twice in one day. I got addicted to the thought of somebody giving me an opportunity for helping them bag their groceries and take them to the car. I got addicted to just saying, you know what? I don't have to spend the money or the advertising or have the experience that all these other agents have. I just have to outwork them. And I just went to work and I kept it up and kept it up. In my first 60 days in the business, I saw really no results other than one. But then by day like 75, just think of it. You go 60 days, you see nothing. 15 days later, your life changed forever. But most folks would have stopped at 60, right? I didn't. And by day 75, I had 10 closings on the board for a month. And it was crazy. And I was saying, you know what, if I can do it one time, let's see if I can do it again. And my first year in real estate, I sold 106 houses. That was a record.
So what is the average, just so people know, that a new real estate agent comes aboard? What is the average? I'm sure you have to know.
Well, that's probably different by state as well, isn't it?
Well, if you go off the national average.
That's what I'm asking,
okay.
national
It's
average.
8. Brand new agent might sell 8 houses a year. Not a first-year agent. Just
That's
a new agent.
That's really a veteran agent, 10 to 12 houses a year. If you
Correct.
You've done really good.
Correct. So it was a thing where once I did that, it blew up. I mean, that was a record not only for this state, but for every single state in the United States. For a solo agent to come in their first year and sell 106 houses. So then it got a lot of attention. And then I got a lot of attention. And then I said, you know what? While I got this attention, I'm just going to keep working.
Embrace it.
And then it went from 106 houses to selling over 300 houses a year myself. Now I'm getting a whole lot of attention. I was a number 2 agent in the United States. And it just started to say, you know what? Just keep this trend going. Keep this trend going. And one thing that I think I did well throughout my time when I was selling real estate, we can talk more about it, but I did what I just talked about with these athletes. First time coming into some money, I didn't blow it. I spent it on things that I should have. I bought rental properties. I spent it in ways and I could understand. And it would always be there. And I did it my way. You know, a lot of folks say the way I bought properties, I did it wrong. I was supposed to go to the bank and put 20 and 30% down and leverage, and I could have way more. But
you just paid in full as you went.
I'm 31 years of age, and I have 51 properties. I don't have to worry about a bank ever coming in and saying, that's actually mine, let me have it. You didn't make the payment this week. Oh, it's hard times. The rates are now 7%. You had a 4% rate. That's double. How can you survive? And I have guys right now who I know that did it that way, and they thought they was doing it right until right now. And their portfolio is costing them $500,000 a year. And most of them don't have it to spend.
So they're having to dump properties.
Thank you. Yep. And guess who's ready to buy? Me, the guy who was buying wrong and slow.
So I feel like I know the answer, but I really don't know the answer. Did you have a mentor in real estate, or was it just you watched that video and you were kind of your own mentor? So
I watched that video, yes. And then I'm not sure if you guys know Mike Anderson here in town.
That name sounds familiar to me.
Okay, he drives the green Lamborghini here. He's one of the first guys in real estate here to have such a feat. He was a big agent, still is. And so Chuck Jackson from San Antonio, he's in banking. He's with Guaranty Bank. He's the president. He hooked me up and was like, you should go and talk to Mike Anderson because he has a similar story to you when he and his wife started in real estate. So I go and talk, and I was just asking him, you know, hey, what is it that you've done outside of real estate that's helped you with your life? And he told me, well, I started to buy properties. And that's the first time that I heard somebody say they're buying properties all cash. And then I met a guy, Mr. William, and he was like, he buy properties. He had 100 of them. I thought he was joking. Seriously. I challenged him. I'm the kid who want to argue, prove me wrong. I want to solve a problem. So I was like, 100 houses, I think that's an exaggeration. He was like, get in the truck. We're riding around, and he'll point them out, and he'll knock on the door, and folks would know him. And I'm thinking, either this guy knows everybody in the city, or he has 100 houses. We got to about house 34, 35, and I was like, we don't have to go see you no more. You've inspired me. You've showed me something that I would have never thought was possible. Now I have to go catch you. And the same thing with Mike at the time. I'm not sure how many properties he had, but I think it was in the 50 range, 40-something, 60-something. I'm not sure. But my goal was to catch Mike as quick as I can. And every single year, it was the same thing. In sales, he sold 400 houses this past year. I'm going to try to catch that. The only difference is I'm a solo agent. He has a team. So in comparison, it's no comparison. But for me, it's just a milestone to chase. He gave me the motivation to chase.
He gave you inspiration to go find it.
100%. So it was folks like that was willing to open their door and share with me. And when it comes to say, okay, who is your mentor? I mean, to be honest with you, the best mentor I have is my past. Understanding where I don't want to be. Understanding the life I don't want to have. Understanding the change that I have to make for the folks who are looking up to me. That's all the motivation and mentoring I needed at that time. And I made a lot of mistakes. But I don't get any better without those mistakes. And I was always told in sports, Coach Freed said it all the time. When you make a mistake, don't blink. Play the next play. So in my mind, I made a mistake. It was part of the learning curve of it.
Sure.
Going to the next one.
That's right. Wow.
So along with, life after football and then the real estate and then you talking about wanting to do better. So you had your first child not long ago.
I did.
So what is that like being a dad for the first time?
That is one of the things in my life that if I could give everything back just to have a kid 6 years ago, I probably would. But it probably would have been a mistake. So I'm glad that my wife wasn't ready and she was in school and I needed to wait, because now I can put my son in a position that I was never able to be in. Yeah. I say that to say this. I'm the person where Christmas roll around, I don't do gifts. Birthdays roll around, I don't do gifts. You have to work for it. That's how I want him to be raised, because that's how I was raised.
Right.
I want you to understand that there's a way on this side for you, waiting for you, but not if you don't work. But being a dad has showed me that selling 106 houses don't matter. Selling 300 houses don't matter. Going on Survivor don't matter if that little boy there ain't smiling.
I agree.
And I wake up every single day and I ask myself, is he smiling? And if he's not, something is wrong. Yeah. And I haven't woke up yet to a frown long enough to where I feel like something ain't right.
He's not a teenager yet.
Well, you're right. He don't have a way to talk back yet.
Yeah,
that's right.
He might start that, but at 9 months right now, it's been
perfect.
the best 9 months of my life just watching him grow. He's growing so fast. He's saying dad, dad.
Just wait till 3. Ours just turned 3.
So I have a stepson. He's had I have a 19-year-old stepson. He'll actually be 20 soon. But
You've been
I've
in his
been
life since he was
in his life since he was 3.
Wow.
So he went from the sweetest thing to the frowningest thing and everything in between.
That's what us boys do.
But,
Start smelling ourselves.
But I
15.
had my first child. We had one, our child together. Like she just turned 3. So
okay.
She's
Tell me what I need to look for.
And she's I don't know, I'm really glad myself that I had a little girl later on in life.
Yeah.
Because, having a little boy, and I don't mean this badly, you almost throw them to the wolves.
Oh,
right?
For sure.
When you get them old enough, right?
For sure.
The little boy's going to be taught to defend himself. But the little girl, she's going to get whatever she wants whenever.
Yep.
It don't matter if she's 30 years old. And I understand that now looking at my wife and her dad, because it don't matter if she can ring his number no matter what time of day or night it is. And daddy's coming right then and there. It don't matter. And I 100% get it now.
Yep.
I get it.
That's how it should be.
That's you mean that in a different way, not
Yes.
a monetary way,
No.
just being a good father.
Sure. For sure.
Having that relationship.
That's right.
Yep.
But then the next step after that, or actually it was before, I guess I jumped ahead because I believe your son was not born when you went on Survivor.
He was not.
Because that probably would have made it really hard to go, I'm guessing.
That would have made it
And your wife might not have been very happy about it either.
I mean,
I don't know.
To be honest with you, I don't think I would have went. It's just one of those things. It's been away. I'm going to Atlanta today, and I come back Thursday, and it's just like, I can't find a flight that leaves out tomorrow night.
Yeah.
As soon as I'm done.
Get home sooner.
You see what I'm saying? So it's just thinking I'll miss something. Because he's moving so fast right now as far as his development in my eyes. When I see him one day, he's not saying anything, so now he's saying dada and mama and pulling up and walking and trying to do all this.
It's like you blink and it's just happening.
Something different every day. Like
is.
the thing he's doing now where he's shaking his head no. I'm like, where did that come from?
Well, back in February, I left town. I had to leave for a week, and I come home on a Friday evening like at 6, and I was home. I didn't go anywhere all weekend, and I had to fly back out at, about 10 a.m. Monday morning to another meeting. I was gone till Thursday. And when I got back, my little girl didn't want to let me out of her sight, and she still don't right now.
Yep.
He was gone for about 2 weeks, like you said, with a small break in between, and she it's like something clicked in her, and now where's daddy? Where's dada? Dada.
Yeah. What's he doing?
And
that's a good feeling though, huh?
It is.
Not that she didn't want him before, but now it's just, more.
I can't go outside and walk out in the yard without her.
She can't see him.
That's more than fine.
Where's he at?
She goes everywhere with me.
There we go.
Something else. So, talking about real estate and all that is just, I don't know, that's really, it blows my mind at the amount of cold calling you've done.
Oh,
but
yeah.
it's also so inspiring because that, what I call grassroots type marketing, people does not really understand. Getting out there and just talking to people and networking is one of the biggest things you can do. And we take and put our own spin in that in barbecue when we go to events. I always have time to talk to people.
Yep.
Everybody's always asking me, well, why are you, come on, let's go. And sometimes it's my wife, like, we've got to go, we got to be somewhere. And I'm like, well, this guy's asking me another question, I'm going to answer it.
Yep, 100%.
And, and if you can try to answer every question that somebody asks you to the best of your knowledge, those people gain those trust in you and they want to do business with you. And it doesn't matter if it's real estate or barbecue or the parts store.
Yep.
It doesn't matter. People just want to familiarize themselves with somebody they can trust eventually.
Because I tell folks all the time, you can spend money on marketing, but you don't guarantee that someone is actually watching it and looking at it and listening. If you go to somebody's house and they answer the door, you can guarantee that they're going to at least hear your voice. They now know you exist. They might not do anything. They might not be ready, but they know you exist now. It's no missing it. And same thing with calling and reaching out. And, I just think it's so powerful. And I know it's changing now and it's different. But if you can learn how to master the skill of being able to approach folks at the door or on the phone, when it comes time to do social media marketing, it'll be much better. Because now folks can really say, you know what, he exists. I've seen him around in the community a lot.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to pay attention more to what he's doing. Same thing when I was putting on my events at the cheesecake place. Give away 500 slices of cheesecake. Had I just started with that, it probably wouldn't have been the best. Well, I take that back because City Hall cheesecake is good, so people probably would have still just showed up for it. But at the same time, now they're showing up with the understanding of my background, why I'm doing it. I want to give back to the community. I want to meet 500 people. I want to do it. I want to show you guys thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah. But I also want to bring more awareness to a local business. So it's just all those reasonings, and it's make those events a whole lot more.
So talking about events, what else or what other events do you do to kind of give back to the community?
Yep. So we did pizza. We did bikes for around Christmas time 2 years ago. Then Easter baskets. We sponsor Easter baskets. Then teacher appreciation. We do events for the teachers here in DeSoto County and Tech County. So it's a bunch. It's less now because I'm kind of transitioning away from a lot when dealing with business. But when I was in the thick of it, it was trying to do for a year, something every single quarter to where we're giving back to a certain group. So, and also I still go to the schools. I try to teach the kids and show the kids that there are other ways outside of sports and what they actually think about. Because if you go to a high school right now and you go even smaller than that to a 7th, 8th grade class, you ask them, what do you want to be when you grow up? The things that they can think of are just what they see around them. They never think outside the box most of the time. But these schools, they're not doing a great job of showing them outside the box activities and jobs and entrepreneurship. And I think me coming in and telling them that you can do whatever you want to do now shows them to say, you know what, instead of being a police officer, which is nothing wrong with being a police officer, we need more police officers. Now I can think of maybe I want to be a plumber. Maybe I want to be an electrician. Maybe I want to be a roofer.
Because I think a lot of people don't realize how much money is in some of those professions and the way they're paying now.
Man,
it is. If you can put in your 5 or 6 years as a journeyman in some of those trades,
yes,
and not ever go to school, just learn on the job, and when you take that master test,
yep,
that's when them big bucks come and company vehicles and things like that. And
100%.
A lot of people don't realize how much money that adds to your bottom line every year, a company vehicle and gasoline.
100%. But see, some of these kids, they don't see that. So when I go and I'm talking real estate and what all real estate is about, because it is about electricians, it is about plumbers, it is about roofers, it is about flooring. So all this stuff that real estate holds with different career paths within, it shows them now like, wow, I can be a part of real estate by doing X, Y, Z, or by getting a real estate license, or by being in insurance, or doing, it shows them another way.
Well, I have to ask, one of the last things, not long ago, you competed on Survivor.
I did.
So tell us about your experiences on competing on Survivor 46.
Yeah, so you go out there and you don't know what to expect. You watch it on television, and it seems fun, it seems challenging. And then you get there, and the very first day I can remember, when an open boat, we're coming from the resort to the island. That's where we're going to play. And it's raining, day one. It's kind of chilly in Fiji, day one. And we're having to stop in the middle of the ocean because one of the contestants have to throw up or have to whatever. We get to the island, and you're thinking, okay, I'm going to have some time to maybe decompress. It's a TV show, right? No, it's a real deal. You don't have any time. The challenge is about to start now. And you're about to vote somebody off tomorrow. And you're not getting any food. You're not getting any fire unless you win. And then I started to realize, like, you know what? Just the basic things at home matter. Being able to sit in a chair. Being able to lay down on a bed. I don't care if the bed is comfortable or not. Being able just to lay down on the bed. Being able to go in the kitchen and eat when you want. What you want. And how many times you want.
So by what you're describing is, you don't know if you would do it again?
Because I've experienced it and I know I can deal with it, I will be open to it. But I tell folks, if you're applying for that show there, get ready to be challenged. Get ready to hit rock bottom. Get ready to figure out things about yourself that you would have never thought. Like I realized out there that I wasn't a great son. I wasn't a great brother. And in fact, I don't even know if I was a great husband because I was so busy. I missed all the events. I wasn't there. Anytime I went out to dinner, I was on my phone. Anytime I was at a family gathering, I was on my phone. So out there not having a phone, not having a watch, it showed me I can go without my phone. And I should. And I got back home now, when I go to dinner, you see my phone's been sitting over here this whole time. I guarantee you, if it was before Survivor, my phone would be in my hand and I would be saying, hang on. Because my motto used to be, every single time my phone rings, I answer it. It doesn't mean I can talk every single time. I tell you I'll call you back or whatever. But now my motto is, if you call me and I can't answer, if what we have is pure, or if what you need is something that you actually need, you still need that in 20 minutes,
That's right.
30 minutes. I can call you back. Yeah. So it just taught me just to be present, be in the moment. All the things that I think matter don't. Just as simple as, being able to go get a fresh cup of water. There's places here in the United States who don't even have that. And here I am taking it for granted. Now when I get water in my cup, I don't pour it down the drain. If I get water in my cup, I'm going to drink every single drop of it because I understand what it feels like without having it. Not having a shelter, sleeping on the ground. I don't know if you've ever just laid outside for a whole night and just slept on the ground and not have a place to go when it rains and it get rained on. That's what happened out there. So it strips you down, but also you have some of your best moments. Yeah. You win a challenge, or you have a blind side, or you find an idol, and all these things that you watch on TV that other folks have done, and you get excited. I went 13 days in a row with no food. I guarantee you right now, most of us, if we go 13 hours, 13 minutes in a row, some folks start to complain.
13 days.
13 days. Just water. Yeah.
Really?
That showed me right there the definition of when somebody, me, and even myself, man, I'm starving, and I haven't eaten in 3 or 4 hours. I ain't starving.
Yeah.
Not even near it. Not even near starving.
So did anybody tap out during all that on your team?
No, not really. Because when you, so I say that to say I went 13 days for no food, but you're not thinking about it like that. Because the next day you wake up, guess what? You're fighting for your life in the game. So you don't have time to think about, I haven't eaten. Now I got to go do a challenge. Because guess what? You still have to do the challenge. It's not like they're going to say, hang on, let's bring you a bar real quick. Let's bring you a burger. You're going to eat that.
So there was absolutely, I guess that's what I'm going to ask. There was absolutely nothing if something happened wise. I mean, after 13 days of food, how long could you go without that? And just
so they say you can go much longer as long as you have water. So 30, 40 days with no food, as long as you have water. Now you're going to lose, muscle mass and all that, but you can survive. You can survive. And it was a well, so all of the water, of course, that you wanted to drink was there. It might have had a bug in it or two, worm in it or two, but hey, that's just protein, right?
Wow. So was it?
So does that make you think differently too if you don't finish your plate now?
100%.
As far as food?
100%. But I mean, I didn't have a problem there anyways. I'm the guy who's looking for more as soon as I'm finished eating. But it has changed. Like now I only eat once a day, maybe twice a day, depending on when I eat. And I normally don't eat before 2:00 anyway. So it's taught me to eat less because of the standpoint of, if we look at any other species, like a lion, for instance, I always ask folks, do you think a lion needs more or less food than me? Oh, more. Well, did you know most lions only eat once a week? So why are we eating every single day, 3 times a day? All we're doing is loading up our gut, and it's causing all of these problems. So I've started to do a much better job with myself of trying to give my body time to process food. And still now to this day, I do a 3-day water fast once a month just to clean out my system, gut and everything else. And it helps me. It helped my skin. I used to have really, really bad eczema. And since doing that, even getting in the cold tub every single day, every morning I get in the cold tub, 7 minutes, 35 degrees, that's helping my eczema and my metabolism and my digestive system. So it's just been more cautious of understanding what's more important. Most important thing is health, because once you don't have that, you don't have anything.
What was the first food that you ate when you did get a meal?
So actually, we won a challenge, and we had some pastries. We had cupcakes and fruit and all that, and I took it down. I ate every single bite of it. Then won another challenge shortly after that, and it was a cheese board. But the best meal that I had out there was Applebee's. I won the Applebee's challenge. Got to bring 3 other people with me to eat Applebee's. And that meal there was awesome. But when I got back home, the first thing I had, I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with Flight.
Yes,
the restaurant.
I love Flight.
So I had my wife to have Flight ready and some chicken wings. I love chicken wings. So had Flight, had chicken wings, had some cheesecake all that night when I got back. So I was happy.
You get off the airplane and go straight to Flight.
Oh, straight. I didn't even get my bags. I went straight. She had the food in the car. I sat in the car, ate a little bit, went back in there and got my bags. We headed home. So
wow.
Yep.
So what made you want to audition for Survivor, though? Have you just always been a fan of the show?
So I started watching during COVID. My wife has been watching ever since, season 1. Their family was big Survivor fans. And she wanted to apply at a time when she was in PA school and couldn't, of course. So I was like, you know what? I'll apply. I'll send in a video, see what's up. I'll go do it. And they actually called me. And then make it through the rounds. I'm like, oh, wow, this might happen. Then make it through more rounds, like, oh, wow, this is going to happen. Then they tell me I'm on the show, and I'm there, and I'm like, okay, let's go. Let's go. It was so exciting, but I was inspired, similar to being an accountant for my mom, for my wife. That was her dream to go on that show, not mine. I just so happened to say, you know what, I'll try. And it worked out.
You never know till you try.
100%.
And a lot of people
100%.
give up without even trying because they look at how hard it's going to be.
Yep.
They do not realize their potential. And like you said, it does not always take to be the fastest, the strongest, any of that.
Nothing.
You just got to tell yourself in your head you can do it.
Yep. Show up and, again, if you fail, guess what? You learn from a mistake. That's all I can tell folks. Learn from the mistakes. Nothing in life is a failure unless you stop.
Wow. Well, let's talk about this catchphrase. Where did the catchphrase "big mistake" come from?
So it's just one of those things I think that caught on out there, and it kind of blew up. It blew up big time, and it was just me having conversation out there, me talking, me just evaluating, and I wasn't even realizing I was saying it that much. Until I started to watch, and I was like, golly, I was saying that a lot. And also Cancel Christmas. Cancel Christmas is just something we said growing up anyways. Like, you think you can beat me in ball? You can cancel Christmas. That's not happening. Like, come on, if you think you're going to beat me. So it's just one of those things also, I didn't realize I was saying it as much as I was saying it. Until they started to play it back, I'm like, golly, here we go.
I have a couple of those too.
Yep. Give me one of yours.
Well, it was recently brought to my attention, something that you say in videos all the time. So our 3-year-old daughter, if you ever meet her, she'll come and say something. She'll say, I'm going to go do this. Okay. Yeah. Okay. And she'll just keep saying okay until you acknowledge her. Like, you have to say okay back or yes, ma'am, or, and so they all laugh when she comes to the office because she's always, okay. Well, finally, Grace, she said you say it in all your videos, which I'll be honest, I don't watch all the videos, but at the end of a lot of his stuff, he'll say, okay. And so Grace was like, we finally realized where your daughter got this. It's from her dad. Yep. He says, okay. And so she has caught on to that. And like I said, it's like
tell you what,
you have to acknowledge her.
And they pay attention, yes, they do. And they pick up.
Yes, they do. She told her to get to work yesterday.
There we go.
I just made a comment about get to work. You know how you always messing with your spouse, right? We work together. And yesterday I was leaving early and I already went out the door and she texted me and she's like, she's up and she wants you.
For you.
So I got out of the truck and come back inside just a second and she rushed to my arms and I picked her up and I said, what's wrong? And she wanted to have a tear in her eye or whatever. And she turned around and looked at her mama and she said, go to work.
She wanted me to leave.
She wanted her to leave. It was just kind of funny.
You go to work.
Yeah, you go to work.
That is funny. Well, I have a flight that leaves at 1. I have a haircut appointment at 11. I want to make sure we hit anything else y'all want to hit.
Yeah, I'm fixing to do this last wrap.
We're wrapping up.
So kind of talking about the last little bit here, tell us about barbecue. Do you do any barbecuing?
I do a little barbecuing in my backyard. Nothing to you guys, level, but I do a lot of. See, I don't eat pork and beef, so that's my only problem, I guess, with barbecuing. I stick to a bunch of chicken. I do, smoked turkeys and all that, but mostly it's barbecue chicken, smoked barbecue chicken. That's my thing. Now, if you want to do a challenge,
no kind of fish.
I do a smoked salmon. I do a really, really good smoked salmon. But if you want to do a challenge, let's do some chicken wings.
I'm down.
That's the next time we're going to see each other. You're going to do some chicken wings. I'll do some chicken wings.
We'll do it.
And we'll have folks to test them and see.
We'll do it.
I ain't got none of this special sauce here that you have in the seasoning.
We're going to hook you up with a few more. We're gonna give you
there
some
we go.
If you're a chicken guy, I've got some wing seasons, and I'm going to give you some wing seasons today.
That'd be cool.
So
That'd be
one of the final questions I'm going to ask you, what memories do you have? Because having such a big family, did your family have any barbecue traditions or holiday traditions throughout the year?
Still to this day. So one thing about my dad, and he's done this since I can remember, he cooks every single day and barbecues every single weekend with a big gathering in the yard. He does all the cooking and everything. So, just memories of just being out there playing kickball, playing tag. Now we go there and we play cards, we play dominoes, we're playing cornhole. And the tradition just continues. And
As
every holiday, of course, he's going to do it big. But every single weekend, they're going to be out there in the country, in the yard, music loud, blasting with some blues or something. He's going to be cooking, barbecue. And it's just mostly, he'll do, dressing and yams and greens and pinto beans and all this stuff just on the given Sunday. It don't have to be Thanksgiving and all that. It's just how they cook in the country. But
that's
just
the way my family
having
was.
Everybody there is just always a blessing. And like I say, when I went on Survivor, I realized I wasn't showing up to the weekly cookings like I used to because I got so busy. But now I show up to the weekly cookings.
Well, that just goes to show you that food always brings people together.
100%.
And sometimes you can't be there, but when you're taken out of that element and you really think about it, it's like, man, I want to be there.
Yep. 100%.
So food 100% brings people together, and I've not seen anybody really fighting and arguing over a meal.
Well, unless you get the last piece of chicken.
Well, that is a little bit different there.
Yeah.
I got one more question before we go. I feel like we need. What's your go-to grill that you cook on?
So I'm just a normal backyard griller.
That's
charcoal
fine.
guy?
You like charcoal?
I'm a mix. No, never gas. I'm a mix. I like to do it now I got a bunch of wood that I chopped up in my back, oak. I like to cook with the oak wood and would mix with a little charcoal. I got the pellets. So I'm heavy into trying. I never use lighter fluid. I don't do that. Naturally trying to start my fire, put it in the grill, keep burning sticks over it, keep burning wood on top of it, and try to let it cook. It's difficult trying to keep it hot that way, but at the same time, charcoal and wood. So
nothing wrong with that.
Yep.
Well, Quintavius, I appreciate you coming in today and shooting the cue with us.
Yes, sir.
It's always interesting to learn about more local people in our community and how they're giving back and kind of how their careers went. And hats off to you. You've done one heck of a job.
I appreciate y'all so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Appreciate it. We'll see y'all next week on another episode of Shootin The Que.
If you have any comments or suggestions for future episodes, please feel free to reach out to us on our social media channels. Leave us a review if you've enjoyed the show. And until next time, keep shooting the Que.